I would love it if we could start broad. Tell me a little bit about your career journey and how you came to be where you are now.
So I have had a really interesting, I would say non-traditional career. I started off really outside of corporate. A lot of the work that I did was with small to medium businesses, a bit in HR, but I actually ran a designer toy company and an art gallery at one point. And then as I did come into corporate, I started my career at Cisco and went in that organization from HR into IT, got to lead engineering teams, and then was a chief of staff within employee services. So that organization gave me an incredible opportunity to really go broad across a large global enterprise. And then from there, came over to Facebook, did a lot of work top of funnel for them. So looking at candidate experience, really doing that attract and engage piece of the funnel for talent acquisition. And from there, ended up going over to Mastercard, where I'm currently the vice president of digital talent. And the work that I do there is around our internal talent marketplace.
Very cool. And so you've spent quite a bit of time in enterprise HR tech. How is AI changing how companies hire and retain talent? What risks or opportunities do you see?
It is drastically changing the environment. I would say one, within the organization itself, for recruiters, this is a whole other world that they're living in now because there are so many AI-generated, AI-applied applications that are coming through to them. So it is a totally different kind of volume that they now need to deal with. So that's sort of the incoming side. On the actual resume review side, they also have the opportunity to leverage AI. And so in that way, they have a really strong boost in their productivity and a way to be able to get through all of those resumes that are coming in by leveraging AI to be able to really start to sift and dig through and look for different signals. There's even technology that exists today that can start to identify fake LinkedIn profiles, fake resumes. And so a lot of those kinds of tools really make it a lot easier on recruiters.
If everybody makes a resume with AI and an AI system matches it, what do we do then? How good is that?
It really does depend. It can depend quite a bit on what kind of large language model and what kind of AI you're using. So I think we're all fairly familiar with the large enterprise grade AIs that are out there, which use so much data, they're very broad. Yeah. And the matching there can be a bit of garbage in, garbage out, like depending what's on the resume. If it's a bunch of keywords and it's, very generic kinds of information, the matches are going to look like that too. They will be very broad and sort of directionally correct, or if you really thought hard about it, you could see how the match got made. Whereas if you're using a narrower kind of large language model, if it's industry specific or if it's very niche around, say, engineering or data science, that can tend to be far more accurate because it has been trained very specifically to look for specific things in a resume and really surface top talent in that way.
Yeah. And I think a lot of job seekers want to know, truly how good is AI at matching a human to a job? Knowing what you know, would you operate a no human in the loop matching system?
Under no circumstances, no. Humans absolutely need to be in the loop for so many things. I mean, when we start thinking about agentic AI, where we are sending agents out to start doing different tasks for us, you always want the agent to come back and check in with the human to say, is this correct? Does this look right? What do you want me to do next? And so in a world like that, even the first step of, hey, you've brought results back to me, I want to look at it. I want to make sure that it is correct, that it is accurate. Because again, sometimes you get things that are directionally correct, but when a human who has had the experience reads through them, they can see, yes, this person did engineering, but it was engineering for HR. And what we are looking for is something very specific to business or commerce or, fill in the blank. And so they can be far more discerning because of the experience they've had.
If you're a candidate right now, do you have to use AI to edit your resume? Do you have to put all the keywords in? Is that just like a necessary evil to make it to the top?
I would say if you are a candidate right now, build your network.
Yeah.
That is the key to getting a role right now. Resumes are fine, but I am here to tell you that I was thinking about this the other day. I honestly have not applied for a job in 20 years.
Yeah.
And that seems insane to me because all we hear about is your LinkedIn and make sure that your resume is up to date in different formats and having to be very, very specific. But what I have found is, yes, you definitely need to have a resume that's up to date because when you leverage your network, you're eventually going to get to that stage. Yeah. But to get in front of companies, absolutely leverage your network and also make sure that you are testing it. You can test your resume with Gemini, with ChatGPT. It's good to test it and get recommendations from some of the larger models just to see what comes back. And then again, you always want to talk to a human. So find executive recruiters, find people that can give you their real life experience as well.
Yeah. And what do the best-in-class companies do with their internal employee tech experiences?
They try to make them seamless. That, I would say, is the key to an employee experience. Almost every organization, especially larger enterprise organizations, have what is lovingly referred to in engineering as a Frankenstack, that it's just some cobbled together thing that, there's so many different platforms and tools and logins. And so if you are looking at an environment like that, you absolutely want to see what can we do to smooth that out? Is there something that we could put in front to have that front door and we don't care what's behind it? There are so many API integrations that are available. There are so many agents that are starting to be created that can help you do that you can honestly end up in a world where you could have, you could be working in Teams or Slack and just have one, my dream is the one bot to rule them all, right? I want one. That you can just come in and have a conversation with that and get access to all of the platforms in the background and nobody cares what those are, right? If we can get to that world, wouldn't that be incredible?
Yes. So you're on the advisory board of Gloat, a workforce agility platform. Mm-hmm. And we're in a unique moment right now where the workforce is in need of a major upskilling. There's a lot more demand for certain skills like AI fluency than there is talent to meet it. How are companies solving this? Is it internal training and internal mobility? Is it external hiring? What's happening?
It is yes, and yes. This is really one of those, your mileage may vary depending on your given organization. And so there are, what I can say within my own experience is it is across the board for the work that we've been doing, that we're absolutely leveraging an internal talent marketplace to be able to get people to understand the opportunities that are available to them. And then for them, they can decide, do I want a mentor right now? Do I want to take some courses? Do I want to have a hands-on project where I can apply my learning? Am I ready to go look for another role? Can I go explore what my career path could look like just based on my skills? So that piece of it is incredibly useful. And also, we're doing all kinds of work where we are actively pushing AI learning and saying, look at all these different courses that we have. We have learning circles available. There's so many different bodies of work that we're doing to be able to advance that. And then there's also, you want to bring in the bar raisers. Right? You want to have somebody that has had that experience, and maybe it is at a startup in a different industry, like bring them in so they have a different perspective and have them lead that team, that people can start to see what amazing looks like. And if possible, do not have them at full capacity, give them some of that space that they can do mentoring or additional projects. Let them be a project leader so that way other people can learn hands-on and firsthand how to have those skills.
Mm-hmm. And job seekers are so anxious about the state of the market right now. You've got such a unique vantage point running an internal marketplace, internal talent marketplace. What would you be focusing on right now? Like, what skills would you be getting? How should people be thinking about their resume right now?
I mean, it is a no-brainer to say, yes, understand AI. That having at least that understanding of what it can do, how to use it, and thinking about how it can make your life easier is absolutely critical. Because the one thing, and I know this has been said a million times, AI isn't going to take your job. Somebody who knows AI is going to take your job. I have seen that to be true, right? That is a skill that you absolutely need to do because you can offload all of the work that is just administrivia. It takes time. You don't need to be doing that, especially the further you get in your career or the more niche your skills are. Those areas are critical, right? And so you don't want to be spending your time like filling out expense reports or trying to figure out, how to sign up for your benefits or, whatever the thing is, even in your own personal life.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of work that I do around cooking and recipe building and shopping that I want to have agents like take care of a lot of that stuff for me. And so that's one piece of it. But the other piece is really starting to focus on some more of those people-centric skills, because as things get faster and faster and more automated, and there is this level of like rising panic that people have, what I found we most desire is human connection. We want to be able to have experiences, to build things together, to have that human touch. And that is something that is only going to come from other people. And so if you can think about the work that you do as anything that is transactional, give it away, right? Give it to a bot, give it to an agent. Anything that differentiates you or is innovative for you or your industry or organization, that's where you want to spend your time. And so my running phrase for this is people doing people work, right? So focus on your people work. See what you can do that is very different and isn't that standard run of the mill. Anybody can get that done.
I love that. Do you think it's hype? Is it true that AI is going to cut everyone's workforce in half and replace half of their employees? Is it real? Is that a valid fear for candidates?
I'm not going to say no. I will say it depends on the industry.
Of course.
I think it really depends on the industry. I do not think that AI is going to take over everything in the world. I do think that if used properly, it is going to create these exponential employees, right? That you're going to have people that are able to do so much more because they're able to offload things out to agents, right? That they have, basically other things working for them. And so your ability to do that absolutely increases your value because you're able to focus on more and more strategic and important things or more things of technical depth. And so being able to focus your task and your work that way, I think, is going to be a differentiator for people. But no, I don't think it's going to shut everything down or take half the jobs in the next 5-10 years.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I have 2 more questions, but these are always my favorite. Who helped you rise to this level, and how do you pay it forward?
I am honestly not kidding when I say it is hundreds, if not thousands of people. There are so many people that have helped me get here. And I mean, I'm sure that most people will immediately acknowledge, like, absolutely my family. Both of my maternal grandmothers were absolute forces of nature. And so I had incredibly strong, powerful female leadership in my life from the time I was born. And so that is, you can't replace that, right? That is something that I saw from the beginning. But through the rest of my life, my goodness, I think a key pivotal point is I had 2 very specific leaders when I was a cultural architect at Cisco, Vijay Panikumati and Guillermo Diaz Jr., that believed in me and said, we know that your work has been primarily in HR and organizational development. You've been around engineering long enough. We're going to let you run some engineering teams. And to have that kind of belief and sponsorship is career changing. And I would say, honestly, even me getting into Cisco, Anita Creek and Don McLaughlin took a huge chance on somebody that had never actually worked in an enterprise before and allowed me to come in and be a PM with them. And so I've had this consistency of people that were willing to take a chance, but those 4 were absolutely critical, just getting me into enterprise and then allowing me to do something so technical, and then having the trust and belief of my team, when I was in there, because I was working with incredible architects, incredible engineers that believed that I could lead them and was not going to do something absolutely stupid, in that role. It is incredible to have people like that in your career because it changes the trajectory of your life.
Yeah, and how do you pay it forward?
I mentor anyone, and I am not kidding you, anyone that will come forward and say, hey, could you spend a little bit of time with me? We'll have a conversation up front about what do you want to get out of this time together. I let them know they're the driver of this, so this can be as long or as short as you need. If it's one meeting, great. If it needs to be over 6 months, great. But I feel very, very strongly about making time in my life to mentor others because I am fully aware of the privilege that I have had in my life to be able to be supported the way that I have been supported.
And I feel like I've heard a version of the story so many times doing these interviews that these incredible leaders have made it to where they are because they got an opportunity to do something that was maybe out of the typical path of somebody with their job. Yeah. Do you have any advice for people on making that happen? Is it really just squeaky wheel gets the grease? Do you just have to go out there and say that you want it?
I mean, absolutely be clear about what you want, for sure. But one of the biggest ways to make this happen is to be good at your job. Like, be good at what you're doing now and show the value that you bring to the organization. Always be going after problems. Be looking at things well outside of the area that you're assigned to. Like, if you can understand how pieces within your organization fit together and see problems and raise them, and don't raise them as problems, raise the solutions that you're proposing to them. When you start doing that you're like, hey, I noticed that, it seems like everybody's spending a ton of time on this one process, and if we only did X, Y, or Z thing, we'd be able to fix this. Depending on your organization, go fix it, if that's the culture, and then tell people what you did. If that's not your culture, go have a conversation with leadership and say, hey, this is what I've seen. I've pulled some data. I've looked at this. Here's what I think a solution is. I want to go implement this, and then go do it, and then show the results. Those kinds of things really catch the eyes of leaders, and it creates a situation where they will remember you as being somebody who knows how to find and solve problems and be able to, sort of move the organization forward regardless of what your job title is. And if you can show up as a leader in any job title, you are much more likely to be thought of as a leader in the traditional leadership job titles.
Mm-hmm. People doing people work.
People doing people work.
How do you hire? What do you look for when you hire people for your team?
We're going to say skills that's table stakes, right? So can you do the job? Great. The thing is that I will also look for skills that are adjacent. So I'm not just looking for the traditional skills. I will look for things that I think could translate into that job. I will always look for people that, in the best way, have an axe to grind, like that there is something that they just want to solve, or they are really driven to contribute in a meaningful way. When I see that fire and that passion, I will hire fire and passion over experience, honestly, almost any day. Not in every role, but there are certain roles that I will absolutely be like, how bad do you want it? You want this? Come in. We'll figure out how to make this happen for you. I love to hire people that have dreams, even if it has nothing to do with the job that they're currently in. If this job is a means to an end to your dream, I want you. Let's figure out how we can get you there. It's that kind of charisma and fire. You can't pay for that. That is something that is so intrinsic to who that person is, and I want people like that to come work with me, and we'll figure the rest of it out, because when you have that fire, that drive, nothing is going to stop you. So that's a huge part of it. Another part of it for me is curiosity. I want people that are asking a ton of questions. I want people that are going to disagree with me. I never want to be the smartest person in the room. I want to hire people that are 5 times smarter than I am in certain areas and bring them in so that, again, all boats rise. Like, I want all of us to be learning from each other. So I look for different things like that. And I will also look at the team that I currently have and see where I have really obvious gaps and try to fill those on top of the basic needs that I have.
If you were graduating college in a few months and you did not have a job, what would you do?
I would immediately lean into anyone's network that I could. I would start looking at even like alumni networks. And I've seen a rise in this recently, and I am so here for it. People from my alma mater from grad school that I graduated from quite a few years ago have started reaching out. They're like, oh, I saw you went to Columbia too, and you were in the org psych program. And I'm like, hey, what's up? You know, like there are decades between us being at this school. But I am so happy that anyone feels comfortable enough to reach out.
And most people are.
Right. That I'm like, that's drive.
Yeah.
And that's part of what I see, that if you were willing to take a bet and just get over any anxiety or fear, or this feels dumb, or they'll never respond to me, if you're willing to put yourself out there, I am willing to match that energy and meet you there and say, how can I help? You know, what are you looking to do? Because I think a lot of us came from very similar backgrounds, and we all want to help each other. We all want to see each other be successful.